What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first ever DFS Army Call of Duty eSports Draftkings breakdown. That's right. Draftkings is adding Call of Duty. And, of course, we got you back. We need to play some DFS. We got to scratch our itch. And I've got the DFS GOAT himself, the Draftkings millionaire, my friend, Bobbywow, a.k.a. Bclinks, in the house. Going to be covering Call of Duty for DFS Army, cheat sheets, advice, all that good stuff. What's up, Bobbywow? How you feeling?
Good, man. I'm doing well. This is exciting. I've been waiting for Call of Duty to make the leap to DraftKings, and it's a good day.
It is a good day, and I love a new sport on DraftKings because there's always edge early. If you analyze the sport, if you jump all over the statistics before your opposition, there will absolutely be edge. The early slates especially, no one knows what Call of Duty is. And that's a little bit of and how the professional leagues work. And that's a little bit about what this discussion is today. So we're going to get an overview of DraftKings Call of Duty, of the scoring system, of Call of Duty the game, how it plays. We'll try to figure out how lineups will be constructed. We'll look at some of the rules concerning lineup construction and see if we can jump out to an early edge with this. So this is great. I am new to this. I have not played Call of Duty. I have not watched Call of Duty. I know very little about it. That's why Bobbyclinks is here. He's going to teach me what we need to know. He's been looking at this stuff. He plays it. He is involved in discussing it in forums and like something you're into. So that's awesome. So let's get started. Now, tell me a little bit about what Call of Duty is. How does the gameplay work? We've all been playing League of Legends. Some of us have been playing CSGO. Not me. I'm in New York. But I feel like Call of Duty is a first-person shooter game. Tell me how professional match play works.
Yeah, in my opinion, if you've been playing League of Legends, Call of Duty is a little bit easier to pick up. So if you've never played Call of Duty before, I think this is a good esport to hop into. In competitive Call of Duty, there's 3 game modes. And so like you said, Geek, it's a first-person shooter. You're part of a team of 5 people. And each match that your team plays, you're playing against one other team, and it's a best of 5. So the way it works is there's 3 game modes within that best of 5 series. One is Hardpoint, which is like a zone-based capture game. There's a domination game mode, which is similar to Hardpoint, but there's 3 flags that your team is trying to capture and hold. And then
are those held simultaneously, or you capture one, hold it for a certain amount of time, then move on to the next objective?
Yeah, in Hardpoint, there's just one. So, both teams are fighting for that one spot. Okay. That's rotating, every minute. Both teams are fighting for that spot to control it for as long as they can.
Okay.
In domination, there's 3 points, 3 flags, and both teams are fighting to control as many of those as possible.
Simultaneous.
So
teams have to make a decision. All right, let's send 3 guys over to flag A and 2 over to B, and we're going to sacrifice C, D, and E. Or they're like shuffling their guys between, these 3 flags, but trying to maybe hold 2 of them while the other team only gets 1.
Yeah, different teams have different specific strategies there, but you're absolutely right. And we'll talk more about the specific rules of each game mode. But yeah, if basically every flag that you hold, that your team's holding, you get points for every 5 seconds that you hold that flag.
Here we go. So, 0.1 points in the game every 5 seconds. Here it looks like DraftKings scoring has it 0.1 points per 1 second of control. So essentially, let's say if my guys, 2 of them are hanging out in one flag spot, controlling it, for every second, each one of them is getting 0.1. So what I'm looking for are correlations. First and foremost, a lot of correlation here between teammates. It sounds like, certainly in this game mode. And in the first game mode where it's capture one spot. Because essentially you'd think that as they have the one spot held, all of them are there hanging out, defending it, and probably getting kills to continue their hold.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that separates these 2 game modes in DraftKings. So with Hardpoint, you're getting points on DraftKings for every second. You're getting 0.1 points for every second that the team member that you've chosen is controlling that hard point. With domination, it's a little bit different in that you get points for every flag that's captured by the person who you've selected to be on your team.
Okay.
So hard point, you're getting points as the timer ticks with your control. Domination on DraftKings is more of, okay, how many flags are you capturing?
Okay. And then there's a third mode, something with bombs and defusings.
Correct. That's called search and destroy. And the other two modes are respawn modes. So if you die, you come back in the same game mode. It's respawn. And search and destroy, it's a round based game. And so, you know, your team alternates each round between offense and defense. And when you die for that round, you're dead for the whole round. And so for search and destroy, the objective is to win 6 rounds before the other team. So, you know, out of 11 rounds, your team wins 6, you win the game. But again, at the end, you know, when you die in each round, you're dead for that whole round. You don't respawn until the next round starts.
Okay. But there's a bunch of rounds and you know, so there's something where you're getting to it and you're completing objectives.
Right.
One thing I'm wondering right now, and I don't know yet because I'm not seeing it in this. Let me see if I can find it. Man, I can't find it anywhere. What I'm trying to figure out, and I don't see it in the rules, is how many players per team are required and like how the lineup is constructed. So can I make a lineup where, let's say I say ATL is the best team. They're who I want, right? So can I make a lineup of just, well, players from this one team or this one team and their opponent, let's say, because it looks like a full team. It's 1, 2, 3.
Similar to League of Legends, you're limited. So I believe it's a 3 team member limit. So I think you've got what, 6 spots, including the captain.
I don't see it. I did not see in the rules. Well, we'll look that up. I'm curious as to. Oh wait. Here we go. Lineups will consist of 6 players. Oh, here we go. Of course, Bobby did his work. Why would I ever shame on me for questioning that?
Shame. All right, this is brand new. This is brand new.
Shame. Ding ding. All right. Ding ding. Shame. Ding ding. All right. Lineup consists of 6 players, maximum 3 from any one team. Team position do count towards the 3-player maximum. A valid lineup must span at least 2 different games with a maximum of 3 players from the same team. So, as much as we want to, do you even correlate, bro? Question mark. As much as we want to correlate, we're going to correlate, but we can only correlate 3 players. There's a 6-person team. So essentially, I believe that this game will be probably, I don't know. I think it would be played with 2 3-person stacks. Certainly not a game stack, but 2 team stacks, one including the team position and the other one just including 3 players. But maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see how that works. But right off the bat, from the description of the game, it does sound like there's a lot of correlation, certainly between players on the same team, because they'll be capturing a flag together. And also the team position itself, because team scoring seems very tied to securing all of these objectives. So, like, if your guys are winning, your team is winning. That's simple.
Yep. Okay,
so give me an idea of how we begin to go about constructing lineups for this game. Like, what is our goal? Do we think that, for example, or explain how a match works? You were telling me before off air. This is the problem with talking off air. I forget what we're talking about here and what we didn't. So how a match works?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple of things to consider with lineup construction. The first thing I'll say is, you know, when you hear people talk about the Call of Duty League, a lot of people talk about the idea that there are teams that are better than other teams. You know, there's the top dogs still, But the truth is, like, any team can win any game. So, it's not completely out of the question for an underdog to win. So, that's good news, I think, for GPP people like myself.
Would you ever play a favorite in Call of Duty? Like, I'm just asking you right now. Like, will that ever happen?
Man, I don't know. We'll see.
No.
It's hard to get off my Chicago team, but yeah, we'll see.
Are you
what happens.
a fan of a local team? Like you watch the game?
I don't pay super close attention, but I gotta rep my city, man. Chicago's the greatest.
It's a good city, very good city, great city. So they got good pizza over there. Different,
true.
Good pizza. All right, the hot dogs are weird with lettuce, tomato. I can't get into it. I like my sauerkraut and mustard. Sorry.
That's fair.
Fair. All right, let's get back into this. So, number one, Bobbywow, never going to play a favorite. Don't even ask. But that doesn't mean we're not going to identify who the favorites are and get a feel for it. But explain how a match goes. So this is the part that I was trying to get. There are 5 rounds, right? So there are those 3 game modes that you mentioned. And it's a best of 5. So a team could conceivably win it in 3 rounds.
That's correct.
Technically, that means a lot less scoring. Like, unless I read through these rules, we'll have to see how the gameplay works week 1. But I've read through this twice. Obviously, I missed the part about the team construction, so it's easy to miss things. But I didn't see where there's a provision for, hey, we win in 3. What happens scoring-wise for the 2 missing rounds? Or is it we should really hope that they go 5 rounds and then hopefully your team wins? But 5 rounds is almost more important than the win, because if it goes 5 rounds, it means a lot of killing is happening.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. And even with just the way that kills and deaths are scored, I think you get 2 points for a kill and minus 1 point for a death. So, there could be some ratios there where it gets interesting the longer the match goes as well. So that'll be one of the things to pay attention to this weekend. But like you said, it's best of 5. And so teams are playing 5 different games, and the determination of game modes is already set up. So game 1 is going to be hard point. Game 2 will be search and destroy. Game 3 will be domination. And then you cycle back through. Game 4, if it gets there, will be hard point again. Game 5 will be search and destroy again, if it gets to that point.
Domination is one that will never repeat.
That's correct. Yep.
So a 4-game set gets us an extra hard point, which is awarding quite a few points for captures. Not necessarily holding the flag, but rather a capture. That's where you get your points. And kills. And the final one will be a repeat of the game with the planting of and the fusing of the bombs and offense defense. So we'll only get 1 round of domination. One thing that I've noted, we've looked at some statistics, and I'm not going to show them here because they're not ours yet. Wink, not yet. They will be. But we've looked at some statistics, and you get some. I mean, it seems pretty basic. You can tell who's a good player. But one, if they have more kills than deaths, that's good. And ratios, you mentioned to me, are more important than total kill numbers. Explain why.
I think, like, for example, a kill-death ratio will tell you a lot, number one, about the play style of a player. And by the way, I'm really excited to get some of these stats out. Maybe sometime tomorrow I'll get a chance to take a look at some of these, because they're super telling, especially as we start to break down the different game modes. But kill-death will tell you a lot about the style of a player. And also, that's one of the main sources of scoring in Draftkings. Whatever game mode it is, kills and deaths are going to factor into scoring in a big way. So like we talked about, kills plus 2 points, deaths minus 1 point. And so the higher the ratio, the better off the score is going to be from the player that you choose.
Not to mention, we just want a lot of volume, which is where having 5 games versus, I think a lot of this is really going to come down to that. Having 5 games versus 3, unless there's some offset for this. I don't care if my team loses 2 games. They've accrued lots of kills and lots of deaths, but certainly because kills are worth double what a death is, and you have a bad game, you might do a point 0.85 or 0.95 ratio. So yeah, I got killed 30 times, but I also got 25. I got 25 kills in, and that's a 50. That's a minus 30. You're still getting a plus 20. You're still getting a plus 20 for a loss in that scenario. So I think that's one of the biggest things. And I mentioned earlier on, there's like a window of a couple of weeks whenever a new game comes out where no one knows what the heck is going on, when you could really do some. Now we don't know, so research is really helpful. We don't know 100% how these are going to play out because it doesn't exist. There's no fantasy points per game numbers. We don't know 100% of that. But one thing I did note, these guys have a technical position on their team based around the type of weapons they choose to use. So tell me a little bit more. So there's ARs, which is an assault rifle. SMG, I believe I saw, which I assume is sort of machine gun.
Submachine gun, that's right. Yep.
Okay. And then flex, meaning whatever they want. Are there snipers in this game? Or what else is going on? Are there any position specific players, or everybody does a little bit of everything?
Yeah, so if you make a comparison to League of Legends again, positions are super important in League of Legends, and you craft your lineup based on positions. The Draftkings even has limitations based on choosing each position. Call of Duty does have you could call them positions, but they're a lot more fluid than League of Legends is. And so like for example, if you're following a player, and these will all be a part of the stats, but if you're following a player who favors his assault rifle, chances are that player is going to be somebody that might sit back a little bit more. They might not be as aggressive going to objectives. They might, be more of like perimeter defense and clearing things out. Whereas like your submachine gun player, that's somebody that's more run and gun. Somebody that's going to be more aggressive, more into those objective type games, and oftentimes plays even quicker than the AR people. So to answer your question, Geek, definitely differences, and there's definitely guns that certain players favor, but it is fluid, and oftentimes even based on game mode, you'll see players switching within the same match.
It's fascinating because like it's just any new sport. First of all, I would have thought the submachine gun guy sit back just mowing people down. So it's the AR guy, I guess, because of the sniper capacity of the AR that will sit back and maybe pick guys off from a spot a little bit, it sounds like. And I think the easiest way, and I'm trying to visualize it whenever a new game pops around, like, how do I know who's good? And I think the simplest form is just the kill death ratio. You really start to get a sense of who the best player in the team is. Video games are like that. You're either good or some people are just very, very good. Some people are good. And some people are my philosophy for NASCAR has been that race one, who did well outside of screwing around, who had a good running position. Why? Because it's a video game. You can't catch me. Your skill set, if you've been playing this, let's say for 6 months, and you're awesome. If I start today and you're still playing, I'm borderline never going to catch your skill level because you have such a head start. So at the highest level of this game, which is what we're looking at, this is the highest level of Call of Duty, right? These guys are professionals, getting paid to do it, getting paid.
Yep.
Can I get a DFS Army Call of Duty team? Can I field one? How do I get in this? It seems like it suits us.
Hey man, you could do it. It is extremely tough to get into the CDL. I think there's 12 total teams.
No, can I sponsor a team? Like, hey, sponsored by DFS Army, where, but I only want to pay like $500.
I can't imagine a team would turn down money, but who knows?
My sponsorship is very low. It's like,
oh, baby.
Yeah. We couldn't get them to mention us, but we got the guy while he's playing to wear a DFS Army hat. Does that count? Like, he's wearing a hat. I'll send him some swag. We'll just send him some free swag and see if they'll wear it.
There you go. I like that.
Free swag.
Before we move off stats real quick, I just want to mention too, another key stat that we'll be looking at when the stats are released and when we have a version that we can share will be engagements per 10 minutes. So kill death ratio is extremely important. Also, the engagements per 10 minutes, just seeing how often a player is engaging the opposing team will tell you a lot about their pace, their play style, And again, the way that they're going to score in DraftKings.
So there we go. Now, are there Vegas odds for this competition?
There are right now.
Ooh, okay. Hold on. Without doing it on screen, I'm going to open up Pinnacle. Tell me about the Vegas odds. So wide spreads, have you looked at the spreads even early on? Let me see if I can find this. As we're talking, Call of Duty. Man, there's so many freaking esports in existence. Oh, here, no, CSGO. All right. I did not see Call of Duty on Pinnacle. So, but you're saying there is Call of Duty lines that we could bet in existence somewhere.
Yeah, I think the last place I checked was Bovada about an hour ago, and they had some lines up. And so, yeah, you get a pretty good idea of some of the favorable matchups. Like, Atlanta FaZe, that's a team that you'll hear a lot about. They're seen as the top dog by most people. And so, like, Chicago Huntsmen, another team that are really, really highly regarded, a good team, and they're heavily favored against New York. So the odds do tell a story, and especially if you're new, that's a good place to start.
That's huge. Now, listen, we don't have to get into the game theory component of, seeing who the favorites are. Week 1, people might not even know there are odds out. Like I don't want to outsmart. You wait till the field figures something out, and then you start to do the opposite. You know what I mean? But early on, I think there could be some advantage just to even knowing and listing. I should have asked this before we started this, because now I'm trying to look it up. But there's certainly an advantage in knowing what the odds are, who's favored, who's supposed to win. Obviously, let's see, eSports, CSGO, or League of Legends, Dota. Here we go, Call of Duty. Hold up. Let's put this on screen. See, I was doing it for a reason. I want to throw it up on screen. Hold on. Let's get the screen share going here. Wait. Why isn't it on? Oh, here we go. Sorry. Just mentally... Oh, there we go. Okay. Technical difficulties. There we go. So on screen here, what I'm super curious about, and I don't know if we know this yet. So Atlanta FaZe, you said, very good team. And here it's playing out. Oh, there's the secondary stat. All right. This is great. Look what we've got here. We're working this out live in the stream. So we just talked about going over 3.5 rounds is probably a positive. It's probably a net positive. So you look at the over-under. Now I'm starting to feel like MMA, Bobby. This is starting to feel MMA-ish to me. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like it. I'm getting that sense. So here's you not only have win odds, but you've got over/under 3.5 rounds. So under 3.5 would mean a 3-game sweep. On the less close games, it will give you an over/under 4.5 rounds. And I don't see any way that this game isn't all about trying to find matches that go 5 rounds. To me, I believe that is what we're playing here. That's the game that we're playing. We're playing the game of A, try to get 5 rounds of action out of a team, then B, amongst those 5 rounds, let me choose the people who will score the most in that game. So again, further evidence that game stacking, team stacking, not game stack, team stacking is the ultimate here, because I need to stack a team, as many players as I can from that team, and hope I get a 5-rounder. Does that sing to you?
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what DraftKings and FanDuel do. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see pricing significantly change over the course of the next couple weeks, and I would not be surprised to see some sort of like League of Legends style points added for games that aren't played. But for now, you're absolutely right.
Or they play it like MMA and say, you got to guess who gets the early finish.
Yeah.
That could happen. Yep. Now, what I've just learned is Now, secondarily, how does their pricing algorithm work? What you just said is correct. Is the pricing algorithm jacking up Atlanta FaZe players because they're the best players and they're projected to win at a much, much higher level, but yet they're actually not the best plays because this team is highly likely or has a higher likelihood of, for example, only getting to 4. It seems like a 3-round sweep is unusual. So you'll see a lot of 4 gamers and some 5 gamers. Look at this. I don't even know how to predict these numbers. So even in the closest matchup, the under 4.5 is minus 215. The over, so the most common game is probably 4 games based on these numbers. It's got to be 4 games is going to be the most common, but your goal is to get to 5. So how do I win? I win if I take the Atlanta FaZe, for example, and they beat the over, they go to 5 games and they're dominant in 3 of them and very competitive in the other 2. That's where taking the heavy favorite could work. But the more likely approach is I take the LA Gorillas. They're an underdog. They play 5 hard-fought games, win, but their salaries were cheaper, so I could because they're a slight underdog, I can roster the best players from those teams, the highest KD guys, because there's going to be players who are priced up because they're better and they kill more, and then the sit-back guys will be paid less. So I think that without knowing for sure, my quick scan of this game tells me close games with a higher likelihood of going to 4.5 or 5 games. Ideally, slight underdogs, or even the favorites in those games, depending on how this. I'm curious. Let's take a look. Let's figure this out. Is DraftKings pricing up the FaZe because they're a heavy favorite to win? And is the Chicago Huntsmen, your team, the second highest price grouping? Let's take a look. I have no preparation on this. I don't know this. We're just figuring this out live as we speak, but I'm curious. Have you looked at this, Bobby?
I have a little bit, and you can tell Atlanta's definitely up there. And what you're talking about, you're totally right on with the team stack. I'm even wondering, like, once we get into this more, are you stacking 2 players with a team, and then is it maybe more of like a one-off? Because you see at the very top there, you've got Octane from Seattle, who's the highest priced player. Maybe you don't want to stack Seattle, maybe you do, but
they're just a slight favorite. He must be great. Yeah. Is he a great player?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Octane?
I'm not super familiar with Octane, no, but yeah, it gets interesting after the team stack. And I think what I'll be paying attention to this weekend compared to following weekends is how much do they start differentiating the team prices? Because kind of like League of Legends, maybe we get to a point where you're picking a team that's super low price that you think has a chance to win, or at least a chance to push it to 3-2 and score a decent amount of points to save salary to fit more of those higher end players into your lineup. It'll be interesting.
Well, one thing I can tell you very clearly, based on just looking at the team salaries, somebody was paying attention to who the favorites and the underdogs are. Because I can't do a side-by-side, but Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Seattle. Atlanta, Chicago, second. Dallas, Seattle. They're ordered. The teams are ordered based on their win odd, their implied win probabilities. So that is absolutely obvious here. That does help you if you don't want to bring up Bovada on your screen and you don't want to bring up DFS Army tools, which I'm sure will show the odds. Like, let's say somebody's watching this. Somebody's talking about mods being used. Travis talking about mods. I am absolutely sure they're in professional leagues. There's no way they're allowing people to use mods or any sort of scammy things. Or you would hope so. Or why would you ever play it for money if that was even a possibility? But what I'm saying here is, like, for somebody who doesn't have DFS Army tools, doesn't have a cheat sheet or whatever, you could just look at the team position and go, all right, here's my heaviest favorite and here's my biggest underdog, because that's how they price them, right? Without knowing for sure. In Flex, I'm I mean, we're seeing it right here. Atlanta, Chicago. You get some one-off guys who are probably super skilled guys for their team, but 3 players from Atlanta. There's 4, so almost all of the Atlanta starters make up, like 5 of the top 10 salaries across the board. So they are pricing up certain players based on their team. There's Chicago, Dallas. These are all the favorites. Seattle. What's OGLA? What does that mean, OGLA? Where is that? Ogden, Louisiana?
Optic Gaming, Los Angeles.
Old gangsters from LA? Old gangsters? Oh, okay. I thought it was just every team's just got, and what's LON? Wait, all of these are just a city, and then these guys, old gangster, Los Angeles. There's a lot of old G's in Los Angeles. That's a place of that. You know what I mean? And LON, I don't know what city that is. So I guess they're not named by the city. They have some other
London. It's London Royal Ravens. Yeah,
London.
Yeah, and that, just to bring it up too, I know there's already been a lot talked about, but like one of the things to pay attention to will be, there's 12 teams in the CDL, but only 8 play this weekend. Some of those teams haven't played for a couple weeks. I think London's one of those teams. So, is there an advantage potentially? They're a massive underdog, but they've been able to prepare for a couple weeks now, and scrim and.
But is that helpful, or they become out of practice though?
That's a good question. Like I think we'll find out this weekend, and it's probably a team-to-team thing, but just something to consider as you're building lineups.
We won't dive too deep into this specific slate here. We're keeping strategy overall focused. We're going to see if a lot of these predictions we're making. This is the first ever slate of Call of Duty. Is it a big slate? Let me see. But it's the first ever slate, so we don't know how it plays out. What I believe that we have discerned here. Yeah, okay. Look, all right. Bobby, is this enough action for you, or is this going to be boring? 5K, 6K entrance?
It's plenty, man. And I think this is gonna gain in popularity pretty quickly here. Honestly, it's going to be really good for DFS. There's a lot of people that play Call of Duty that aren't currently invested in DFS. I mean, you look at the forums, you talk to different people. There's a buzz. There's a buzz about the ability to bet.
Should I start playing Call of Duty?
Around your players.
I
think you should. Man. We'll have to run some Warzone together. I mean, we'd have a good time.
I'm gonna play it. I like it. So, all right. So to recap, very similar to other esports, this is a team correlation type of game. We're looking for, first and foremost, games that go the full 5 rounds. There'll be Vegas odds about it. We're going to play some underdogs. We're going to get a little different, just like League of Legends, where if you had just played the underdogs pretty much in every slate, you'd be raking in the dough because everybody wants to follow the odds, and those odds are very, very, very unusual. Here you go. Somebody can't believe. Yes, the Bobbywow that won the Millie is here breaking down Call of Duty with us. I thought you were a pastor. He is. This is his side gig. We call it the side hustle. But priorities. First things first. The pastor. Second thing, DFS. That's what we do. Shame. Ding, ding. All right. Shame. Ding, ding. That was for me for questioning you earlier. That's the shame.
You're fine.
For you. The shame is me.
Do we have time, or do we got to go? Do we have time to just real quickly run through generally the 3 game modes?
Yeah, for sure. So give me a breakdown of the bomb diffusing one. Like, all right, one is capture the flag. One is capture the flag. So explain how that works.
Yeah. So sorry, my kids are.
I should say capture the flag. What's the proper name for it? I'm going to use my. I played it on PUBG, so I know what I'm talking about. Mode. What's it called?
Yeah. So let's start. Can we start? Let's start with that one. It's domination, and so domination is the flag-based game. And your team is basically fighting for control of 3 static objectives. Those are the flags: flag A, flag B, and flag C. And so to capture a flag, your team has to stand on, right next to that flag to actually capture it. And it takes depending on how many players are in or on the flag, is how quickly you capture the flag. You don't start earning points for your team until you actually have the flag captured. And so, this is important at the beginning, but it's even more important as the game's going and you're trying to neutralize and capture the other team's flags, that they have in their control. And so at the end of the day, we'll just try and fly through this a little bit. Like, every flag that you have captured gives your team 1 point for every 5 seconds you have it captured. If you have 2 flags captured, you get 2 points every 5 seconds. If you have all 3 flags captured, you get 3 points for every 5 seconds that they're captured. And so this is a respawn-based game. If you get killed, you respawn, you come back in the game. But it's split into 2 6-minute rounds. So you're trying to capture flags and get as many possible points as your team can.
Is it safe to say if I'm holding a flag, I'm getting a lot of kills? Because the only way I'm holding the flag is if the other team is attacking and I'm neutralizing them, continuing to maintain the flag. Or so is it you capture the flag and how long you hold it for? Or once you've got a capture, it counts as a capture, done? Like, how does that work?
For DraftKings individual player scoring purposes, once you capture a flag, that's what you get the point for. For your team inside of the game, Call of Duty, every 5 seconds that you have a flag captured, your team gets a point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there has to be a component to holding it in the DraftKings scoring. Maybe we didn't quite see that, because DraftKings has to score that as well, because if not, then my objective would be to have a team that captures a flag, loses it very quickly, and recaptures it again constantly over the course of a 6-minute game. And that seems counterintuitive to the objective in game of holding the flag once you've captured it.
I think that's what makes it challenging. Is it's not, once you have control of a flag, if your team's playing it right, it's hard for a team to come back in and capture or recapture that flag. So and we'll talk about the difference in hardpoint. That's kind of why hardpoint is different, in that your team gets points, based on every second you have that hardpoint captured, kind of like what you're talking about.
There's only one objective, so every team is going for it, right? And you're standing in there. The other team is coming at you. You're killing them, and that's why they're not taking it back from you, because you're eliminating them, racking up kills and racking up seconds of control of the flag.
Right. And so, like, one of the things you mentioned earlier in the pod, Kevin, was this idea that, some players favor the assault rifle, some favor the SMG. In this game mode, oftentimes your assault rifle person is going to be defending that flag. Like you're talking about, people are coming in trying to capture it, and they're sitting back strategically picking people off as they're trying to take the flag. SMG, they're oftentimes going to be your objective people. They're going to be running to each flag and trying to get those captures. And it's not always that cut and dry, but, that gives you an idea of the strategy there. And so, as you're looking at the stats, that'll be important to weigh in each of these specific game modes. But remember, domination only happens once. It's the third game out of the 5. So
sorry about that. I had to get up and close my door as I'm hearing kid noises flying up from a Zoom meeting that's going on downstairs. So the third mode. So we talked about domination. We talked about the second mode, where it's a bunch of different flags that they're trying to hold. And that's the one where you get a point per capture. Then there's something about, domination's a point per capture, 3 flags. Then there's a second mode where there's 1 flag. What's that called again?
It's called hardpoint.
Hardpoint. Yeah, I don't know why my brain refuses.
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
it's not as much a flag in this one. It's more like a kind of like a zoned off
territory,
a little bit larger of an area.
You're capturing an area. So is a capture of the area, and I'm just curious to the gameplay it works, is a capture of an area, we have more guys in the area than you do, therefore we are considered in control? Or is it I've eliminated every single player from the other team from the area, and for those seconds where it's just my guys, that's my control?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. It's a respawn based game again. And the way it works is there will be a hard point that's identified. And this is where it's different than domination. There's only 1 hard point. There's 3 flags in domination.
Yeah.
In hard point, the location moves. So after a minute, there's 5 predetermined spots for hard points, and they move every minute. So part of the strategy is, okay, when are we sending guys to go to the next hard point as the timer is clicking down on this one? But yes, like you said, the way to actually get points in this is to be the only team within that hard point. So if you have 1 team member or 3 inside the hard point, you're getting the same amount of points.
And if they have a guy in there, no one's scoring. If you both
have a guy in there, it's called contested, right? And so the game timer is counting down, but there's no points being awarded to either team.
And at the end of the 60-second period, the team that had the most seconds of control within that frame of time for that hard point gets the point, I assume, or gets the credit.
No, actually, it's kind of makes it more intense. What they do, they have the points that you get. Let's say your team controls the hard point for 40 seconds, and the other team, has it controlled for 20 seconds. Those points stay with you as the hard points rotate, and the first 250 wins.
It's a running total, first to 250
score.
But this game has a time limit. First to 250, somebody's getting there. There's a time limit on there. Actually, no. Technically, the game could go on and on if a lot of the time is contested. Right? I'm trying to just think of.
There's a timer. There's a timer. There's a 5-minute game timer. So
there is a limited amount of time for this game. It will end after 5 minutes, no matter what.
Well, not necessarily after 5 minutes. If you're capturing the hard point, the game timer stops. But if there's nobody in the hard point, or if it's contested, that game timer is counting down. So it can't go on forever. And oftentimes you do see teams, scoring 250 points before the timer gets to 0. But it does happen. That the game
there is some limit, though. I'm just looking for DraftKings scoring purposes. The longer a game goes on, the more kills that are happening. That seems to be the ultimate in what's producing points above and beyond. All of the objective is just who's getting a lot of kills. Like who's kill to death ratio is the highest, but also a volume of kills. I could be 1-to-1 kill to death, but if I got a lot of kills and a lot of deaths, and it's probably unusual for that to happen because of the respawn probably time gap, but if I got a lot of kills, even if I have the same amount of deaths, doesn't matter because the kills count for double what a death counts for. So you just want the guys who are aggressive and getting a lot of kills, and hopefully involved in very, very long running games, hopefully involved in 5-round games. So let's talk about that last one, because that's the most confusing one for me. Placing bombs, diffusing bombs, offense, defense. Explain how that game works.
Yeah, this game mode's called Search and Destroy, and personally, it's my favorite one. It's I don't know if it's fair to say more tactical of an approach, but to me it is. Instead of a respawn-based game, it's a round-based game. And so, your team is competing against the other team in a match where there's 11 potential rounds. The first team to win 6 rounds wins that Search and Destroy map. And the way it's set up is there's an offensive team and a defensive team. And so, like, let's take Chicago, for example. Every round, Chicago will rotate between offense and defense. If you're on offense, your objective to win the round is you either have to eliminate all of the defense players before the timer runs out, or you have to plant and detonate the bomb. So there's 2 bomb sites. There's 1 bomb that you pick up at the beginning of the round, and your goal as the offense really is to plant and make sure that bomb gets detonated before the defense can defuse it. But you can also kill the defense before the time runs out, and you can win the round that way. Defense is the opposite. You can eliminate the offense to win the round. You can defuse the planted bomb to win the round. Or if the time runs out before a bomb's planted, the defense has the advantage there, and they win that round as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it matters to DFS purposes, but does it say where the bomb is? Like, do you get a notification? Your team on screen sees, oh, yeah, there it is. They planted it. Like, do they know, or do they have to look for it?
If you're the offense, there's an indicator on the screen and on your radar of where the bomb is. If you're on defense, you can see the bomb on the ground. If someone who was carrying the bomb dies, you can see where it is, and then the defense will strategically play around that bomb because they know the team has to plant it.
Yeah.
But it's not like marked on the radar per se for the defense. Once it's planted, though, of the 2 sites, yeah, it'll tell you which site the bomb was planted at.
Okay. Okay, I just want to, it's more of a gameplay thing. It doesn't matter for DraftKings purposes. I'm just curious how the game plays out. And I don't really know how to differentiate these games for the DK purposes in terms of which one's best for scoring. I don't think we're going to know. I don't think we're going to know until we watch the game, and I'm not sure if it matters. They're going to play all three once through. We're going to get a second round of Hardpoint. We're going to get a second round of Search and Destroy if it goes to 5 rounds. Only 1 round of Domination. But the key factors here are, for the basics of it, we want players that get a lot of kills. We want correlated with their teams. We want to probably, again, let me look at the roster size here, but you've got 6 spots here. You're going to have captain, 2 players from his team. Then you're going to have 2 more players from the same team and the team position from that team. That's basically pretty much the only way I could see playing this game. We will learn on Friday if a game stack is ever a viable option. Could be, but it could be. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think a game stack will ever be a thing here?
I suppose it's possible, but it feels like especially if you're aiming to like play a GPP type,
trying to win a tournament. Yeah, we're trying to win tournaments.
You're going to need the team. Yeah,
but it's possible. Yeah, I think it's a possibility, but it would have to be a pretty special, brutal game. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that will ever work. Even yesterday in League of Legends, in the most game stacky-ish looking lineup, a game in the history of League of Legends, it was not a game stack, but rather a clean 4-3, ties everywhere stack that won the tournament. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think too, along with what you're saying, it'll be really interesting to figure out what that balance is between the objective-based points for your players and the kills and deaths. Are we seeing more of objective players, people who are trying to plant or defuse the bomb, which is worth 3 points every time they do that? Are they scoring more than people who are, more trying to get more kills? Is there a balance there? Is there a blend? What are we seeing there in terms of the harmony of kill death and objective based scoring?
We will find out. We will find out on Friday. 4-game slate. I assume there's more games over the course of this weekend because you mentioned 8 teams are playing over the weekend. So
it's bracket. Yep, it's single elimination bracket style. So the teams that advance will play later on in the weekend. Yep.
There's a 2-game slate too if you want to really go all in on just 2 teams, both underdogs, of course. Of course. So yeah, let's wrap it up there. We've got the breakdown. As the week goes on, you will see notes for DFS Army subscribers. You'll have notes from Bobbywow, the GOAT, DSGO. We're going to have some sort of a research station put together. We will have statistics put together. Bear with us. This is brand new. But there is a lot of motivation here within our team and within our community, the DFS Army community, to get on top of a new sport fast with edge before the field catches on. There's always edge early in these new games because just like we're trying to figure this stuff out, other people are too. No one's really seen it play out for fantasy purposes as of yet, but super popular stuff. So I'm excited. If you're watching this and you're a DFS Army subscriber, we'll have more information in Slack on dfsarmy.com, on the website, Bobby's notes, and we'll just, we're going to build a little bit of team around this game as well. We'll see how that comes together. If you're not a DFS Army subscriber and you're watching this public video, go to DFS Army. We have a special going right now. We get it. Sports are shut down. You can use promo code eSports when you sign up. You get in for a very cheap price for the first month. Special, new members only, $20 for the first month. Check us out. I'm seeing here this could be something big. It sounds like a fun game. We don't know how often DraftKings will have slates. You don't know. They don't tell us. If FanDuel will get it, they probably will. They seem to get everything that DraftKings does. So hopefully we'll have a lot going on with some Call of Duty, and we'll have some Call of Duty games. I'm going to play with Bobbywow after this. I want to play some Call of Duty.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the things, just hearing you say you might get it is awesome. There's rumors, maybe people are missing out on community. If you have Call of Duty, maybe we'll jump on Twitch and we'll do some just conversations on Twitch while we all play together. We'll we get some squads together. So
I love it.
We've been playing. Join up with us. We'll share gamer tags. It's a cross-platform game, so whether you're on PC or PS4 or Xbox, it doesn't matter. But we'll play Call of Duty together and we'll talk about this stuff.
Can I play this on my Nintendo N64? That's what I still have it. Does it work on that? No.
I don't imagine
not a true cross-platform.
No, but I'll take you down a Mario Kart on that thing any day. So
love Mario Kart, man. Can we play Mario Kart? That's what I want to play. Come on, bring me back to 1994. It's my heyday.
Fun.
96, 98. All right. We'll wrap it up there for Bobbywow. Thank you for coming on. Always love doing these things. You're going to get a lot more of Geek and Bobby just because I like it. I like doing them. I can't even play Call of Duty in New York yet, but I like doing these. So you'll get a lot of that. We'll break down these slates. We'll talk about it, cheat sheets, all that good stuff. Meanwhile, good luck, everyone. This is first slate, Friday afternoon, 4 p.m. Don't miss it. We're going to crush it. Good luck, everyone. And Bobby, thanks for coming on, my man.
Thanks. Can't wait.